Taiju was very sad for Senku's death. Tsukasa realized that he could use Yuzuriha as leverage to suppress Taiju. In a fit of anger, Taiju would force Tsukasa to kill him. Taiju was very angry about what happened, but he managed to restrain his emotions. With the help of Yuzuriha and their understanding, they devised a plan to escape. Taiju carried a large rock and threw it in the air as a distraction. Meanwhile, Yuzuriha hurried and threw a jar containing a black substance at Tsukasa, to discover that it was black gunpowder. A large explosion occurred due to the gunpowder and sparks from the rock thrown by Taiju. Tsukasa realized that Taiju didn't want to attack him. He just wanted to escape. Indeed, Taiju succeeded in carrying Senku and escaping with Yuzuriha. Tsukasa was sure that there was no possibility of saving Senku because he had already broken his neck, while Taiju did not fully accept it because they were determined to rebuild civilization together. Taiju tried to revive Senku. Yuzuriha mentioned that Senku sacrificed his life for her, but Taiju was surprised by Senku's sacrifice. Senku wouldn't kill himself. He must have had a plan to save everyone. Yuzuriha recalled a time when Senku asked Tsukasa to end his life quickly so he wouldn't suffer. He snapped his neck as a ploy to lure Tsukasa into doing it. Senku had always been trying to hint at this. The duo discovered the truth of this matter. There is still a part of the petrification in Senku's neck. Taiju remembered that Senku told him the petrification repairs fractures when removed. The duo poured the revival fluid on Senku's neck, hoping to fix the fracture in his neck. The petrification was removed, but Senku didn't wake up. Let's go back a little to the past. After 3718 years, precisely 5738, Senku woke up to begin his scientific adventure to rebuild civilization and technology. As a primitive human in the Stone Age, Senku managed to use wood and rope to make fire. He also sharpened hard flint stones to obtain stone tools. He set traps for animals in the forest to obtain food, and built a shelter using wood, sewing primitive clothes. It was a fascinating, exciting start to technological civilization from scratch. Senku began investigating the cause and source of the petrification beam, glimpsing a hand near his revival spot, catching his attention as a possibility that one of his friends might be there. It was his huge friend, Taiju. Senku formulated hypotheses for the reason behind human petrification. 1. The first hypothesis suggests an alien attack to petrify humans after they succeeded in petrifying Sonono's birds. 2. The second hypothesis proposes a military weapon from some state aiming to control the world, but it resulted in the opposite. The third hypothesis suggests a strain of petrification viruses affecting only humans and Sonono's birds. What is certain is that the petrification beam targeted humans and Sonono's birds only. This is a scientific challenge for Senku to discover the source of petrification. By analyzing logically the way his petrification decayed, Senku discovered an external factor led to this decay. He explored the cave near his revival spot, finding the most powerful liquid ever, nitric acid. Senku experimented with it on a part of his hair that was still petrified, and it succeeded. However, when experimenting with nitric acid on Taiju, Sonono's birds, and other statues, it didn't work on them. Senku discovered that the second factor for petrification removal is consciousness. Senku counted seconds for 3,700 years, lacking logical explanation. This hypothesis requires an energy source, considering the brain burns 400 calories a day, meaning 2 terajoules over 3,700 years. Means there's an equivalence between energy and mass, a fundamental principle led by Einstein. It's impossible to create energy from nothing. There must be something Senku utilized with his mind. He experimented with everything on petrification to discover the secret. He considered using Nital, but it lacks alcohol. Senku talked to the petrified Taiju, believing in him and waiting for his return no matter how long it takes, just like Taiju in the present. Both went through a similar situation, pinning their hopes on each other to recover technological civilization. Now back to the present, where Taiju and Yuzuriha were waiting for Senku to come back to life in the rain. Suddenly, life returned to Senku, and the neck fracture was treated with the revival fluid. He began talking to them, and they were amazed. Hope did not disappoint, and the dream became a reality, bringing joy to Yuzuriha and Taiju. Taiju always expresses his joy in a crazy way, almost crushing Senku's bones. Petrification was a positive and essential factor for the success of Senku's plan. Hence, the anime's name, Dr. Stone, meaning the stone doctor compensating for the doctor. The origin of petrification and its source puzzled Senku. Yuzuriha suggested to Senku the idea of collecting the shattered statues and pouring the revival fluid on them. However, Senku had already tested this on Sononos birds, resulting in the resurrection of dead parts of the statues. He had the idea and shared details with Yuzuriha, who in turn informed Taiju, even though he did not fully accept it. However, Senku explained the plan, where Tsukasa would think Senku was dead. Infiltrating Tsukasa's empire as spies would give them knowledge about Tsukasa, providing them an advantage in the upcoming war. Tsukasa intends to gather nitric acid, depriving Senku of making gunpowder and the revival fluid. Therefore, Senku must find the mysterious individuals in the forest and recruit them unless Tsukasa discovers them first. This means that the science team will split into two, with Senku searching for allies and Taiju and Yuzuriha working as spies for the Kingdom of Science. The matter is worth sacrificing for the sake of building a scientific empire. On the other side, Tsukasa discovered a strange girl chasing him in the forest. She attacked him, displaying remarkable combat skills. Tsukasa found out that she was observing him when he took Yuzuriha as a hostage and when he killed Senku. She continued attacking him, but Tsukasa was much more skilled. The girl believed that Senku was a sorcerer who summoned the mountain's anger with black powder, referring to gunpowder. This confirmed to Tsukasa that she was a completely primitive person without knowledge, so he considered them no threat. Therefore, his priority is to return to the cave and create the revival fluid before Taiju and Yuzuriha. He bid farewell to the girl in his own way. Senku hurried to rescue the girl as he used Archimedes' invention, a pulley, to easily remove a heavy tree. Kohaku was impressed by Senku's cleverness and intelligence, even though she knew nothing about science. Senku was amazed by Kohaku because she quickly developed feelings for him. Kohaku confirmed her admiration for him and expressed her intention to cooperate with him. Barely sleeping in the same place, Kohaku remained cautious, while Senku was indifferent. The two agreed to unite to build the Kingdom of Science, with Senku as the mastermind and Kohaku providing human strength. Accompanied Senku to a hot spring to take water for her sick sister. Almost dropping the water jar, with Senku's strength, managed to prevent it using science. However, their inventions are still primitive, and luckily, they reached Kohaku's village. Senku was astonished to see the primitive village with no trace of modern technology. Senku faced an attack from the village guards, but Kohaku intervened to stop them because he saved her. However, both of them refused this, as it goes against the village laws not to allow strangers in. There was no other choice. Kohaku chose to fight them, 1 against 2. Senku took a step and made soap bubbles float in the air, surprising the guards who thought it was magic, starting to attack the bubbles. Senku learned about their level, making it easier for him to integrate their human power, consisting of 40 people, into the science team. This structure aims to overcome Tsukasa and save humanity. Meanwhile, Chrome, the extremely intelligent wizard, appeared nearby. Senku introduced himself, setting the stage for a showdown between two geniuses, Senku and Chrome. Chrome ignited fire and added natural chemical compounds like salt and copper from blue crystals collected in caves and sulfur to change the fire's color. This seemed intuitive to Senku, revealing Chrome's primitive tricks. Whether it was in Chrome's plan or not, he truly believed he would impress Senku and make him his disciple. He pulled out his winning card, a sulfur ball causing sparks when rubbed. A static electricity generator from the sulfur ball, an invention dating back to the 17th century. Senku surpassed this by rubbing the ball with leather, giving it multiplied force. Senku was genuinely surprised by Chrome's work, who had been collecting minerals and scientific tools alone in a scientific laboratory. He conducted random experiments on everything, and if something remarkable happened, they considered it magic. Since Chrome loves experiments, he is an enemy to Tsukasa. Therefore, Senku asked him to join, wanting to own Chrome's scientific shed in his scientific kingdom. Chrome demanded a battle. If Senku won, he would get the shed, and if he lost, he would leave the village. He challenged Senku in arithmetic. Thus, the scientific shed and Chrome were acquired. Senku was once again amazed by what Chrome had gathered, a collection of exciting rocks and scientific materials. Senku forged a golden spear for Ginro, attempting to sway him, but it didn't work. Laws are laws. Senku discovered that Chrome had been collecting medicinal plants and experimenting on them, seeking a cure to improve Ruri's condition, Kohaku's sister. Ruri felt something for Kohaku and asked why she was late returning. While Chrome asked Senku to make medicine for Ruri, Senku first narrated the story of everything that happened 3,700 years ago, telling Chrome about technological civilization and science as well as the petrification incident. This angered Chrome, but Senku reassured him that all of humanity's technology reached him through his brain. This ignited Chrome's enthusiasm to save humanity and obtain a cure for Ruri. Certainly this is possible through science. They will create the ultimate scientific medicine, the antibiotic. The news of Senku spread within the village. They were not pleased because Kohaku brought a stranger with her, so she violated the laws. While Kohaku and Chrome are enthusiastic about making the antibiotic for Ruri, thinking it's very easy, Senku explained to them the nature of the antibiotic that has saved millions of lives since its discovery in the early 20th century. There are two ways to manufacture it. The first follows the path of biology, making penicillin from living organisms. This involves using green mold, and the process relies on luck in this stone world. Alternatively, follow the stone path and make sulfa drugs from rocks. In this case, they will need manpower and diligence. Step by step and using science, the team will be able to achieve the goal. So, Senku created a scientific roadmap for making sulfa drugs. Kohaku and Chrome are amazed by Senku's intelligence. However, Kohaku and Chrome are very primitive, so they started asking about everything, including gravity and stars. Kohaku pointed out that the North Star does not indicate the true north. This means the entire planet has tilted slightly over the past 3,700 years. So, the beauty star moved. Senku wondered how they knew the true north. Chrome found a rock in a mountain, and when placed on a floating paper on water, it always points in one direction. It's a magnet. By using it, they can collect iron sand, and finally, the curtain begins to lift on the Iron Age. The team needs a lot of labor. A watermelon appeared in the river. Suddenly, a little girl emerged from it. It's Suika, from the village, who was following them and wanted to help. Senku welcomed her into his team as long as she wanted to help. Suika sings, Chrome asked her if she is Momotaro or something, which caught Senku's attention. Senku was surprised by his knowledge of Momotaro. Rory told them these stories that date back to Senku's era. So Rory attracted Senku's attention, and he expressed his interest in her and getting to know her more, and saving her no matter the cost. Chrome didn't like it, so he asked Senku about his interest in Rory. To discover through Kohaku that Chrome is fond of her sister Rory, Chrome's secret was revealed, and now it's time to make iron by mixing 80% iron sand with 20% coal. This requires a high temperature of up to 1,500 degrees, so they will need to pump a lot of oxygen, but it's extremely difficult and requires a lot of labor. The team failed the first time, so Senku decided that Suika will work as an investigator to find out the needs of the village. And she brought important information to them. She discovered that the village residents are tired of the same food. So, Senku thought of preparing the most delicious dish in the world, ramen, discovered by chance by an unknown Mongol in the 4th century. Senku noticed the foxtail millet on Suika's hand. She plays with it with her puppy. He hit it hard with a stone to peel it, thus obtaining food grains. By grinding it, we get foxtail millet flour, and by adding an egg and a little potassium carbonate, and with Senku's cooking skills, he finally managed to cook a ramen dish. Chrome started tasting. It was extremely delicious, and tears welled up in Chrome's eyes from the enjoyment. The three were amazed at the extreme pleasure of the taste. Senku was not satisfied because of the bitter taste of the foxtail millet, but for the others, it was an amazing dish. So he went along with it. Senku created a mobile restaurant to cook ramen and took it near the village, claiming to occupy the village as he says. Will Senku be able to enter the village? How will the villagers react? In the next part, we will discover together the continuation of Senku and the science team's adventures. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support, guys. Until next time, happy watching.